Good afternoon. My question is about have you ever compared between aquaponic system and non-aquaponic system? Which one is cheaper? Thank you.
I can't hear you, Marike.
Okay. Have you ever compared between aquaponic and non-aquaponic system? Which one is cheaper?
No voice.
Okay, I can try. Can you hear me, Turker?
No, I can't hear you.
Yeah,
I
yeah. He sees me probably. And apologies for the connection. I think the internet connection here is sometimes dropping, so that's what you saw happening now as well.
That's okay. What happens?
He can read lips. So Turker, do you hear me? The computer is over there.
You? Okay. You hear me?
Can you hear me? No.
Test, test. Can you hear me, Turker? Test, Turker.
Very, very lowly.
Test, test, Turker. Can you hear me?
Little bit turn it on. Yes.
You can hear me, Turker.
Yes. How is it? Yes.
Test.
I also hear myself.
Okay. My question is about have you ever compared between aquaponic and non-aquaponic system? Which one is cheaper? Thank you.
Aquaponics system and which one?
Non-aquaponic.
Dur. Dur. Can you ask
Okay. Have you ever
again, please? I
compared-
missed the part.
Okay. Have you ever compared between aquaponic and non-aquaponic system? Which one is cheaper?
Well, sorry, I didn't understand that much. You want to compare aquaponic and
Non-aquaponic. Control, or maybe you compare between
aquaponic and non-aquaponic
Yes,
system.
yes.
Okay, I got it now. Okay, I got it now. Well, when you compare aquaponics and non-aquaponic system, actually I don't know what is non-aquaponic system, but we can compare separately. We can compare plant and soilless production like hydroponic, and also soil production. I mean, you plant the vegetables in the soil. You can compare that. When you compare aquaponic plant production with the soil land production in the ground, actually, like a traditional agriculture method. There's a big differences actually. For example, for the lettuce, you plant in aquaponic, you plant 20 roots of lettuce per square meter, 20-25 roots you plant. But in a soil production, you plant only 10. So it's a double time more production. In aquaponics, you can make flats. So because you use water, you don't need this land, or you don't use soil. So you can make a flat production, like a floor production. Also, there's also timing. So in a soil production of lettuce in Turkey, it takes 90 days, like almost 3 months. But aquaponic production, we produce lettuce in 1.5 months. So it's also reduced harvesting time. The fish production is the same as a normal fish production. It's just the recirculation system that we use instead of flow-through system. That's the differences, and that's the benefit of the aquaponics that I can tell you simply.
Thank you, Turker. Is there? No, I don't think. Is there any other question from the public? Maybe on the technicalities of their system? Everything is clear? Would you take a class with Turker maybe in the future? Good. Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Why not? If there's a request, we are always here.
You have a question? You have a question? Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, is this all subject online, or do you only have a few subjects which is that you carry out online?
Well, in this center, if I understand your question correctly, I'm sorry, but in this center there is 2 departments. One is master degree, which is agriculture economics, and another course, another department, another is tourism administration, is a vocational school. So the students, but in Antalya, they are not in campus. They are living in different cities. The course they have, professor of the day and time, they give online course from their office or from the studio in the center. If the students participate in the course, they listen online. If they are not able to participate in online course, they can listen or watch the course later because it is recorded. You see the red dot here on the screen? So this is the recording item that we record all the courses, that we are giving the link that the people who should participate in the course, they can watch it later. So it's an online course, but you can also watch it later, if it's the question, if I understand true.
Johan Verret here. I would like to ask something about the system that we use. I think the microphone is working.
Hi, John.
Maybe you told it and I missed it. Did your university develop this interactive system herself?
No. I can't hear you, John. I hear you, sorry.
So you use a platform from Adobe, but has it been adjusted by your university for your use, or is it? Can you simply apply it like it is?
Şey soruyorlar. Bu herhangi bir sizin üniversitenin hazırladığı bir kurs var mı diye soruyorlar. Üniversite. It's only Adobe Connect. Whoever has downloaded Connect, make it in Wagenik that use Connect. It's actually a much more developed version of Skype.
Is it free software or you have to pay for? Because at our university we are using StarLeaf, but the university needs to pay a subscription. The advantage of StarLeaf, it has the same functionalities, but the advantage is that before you start, the software checks the strength of the internet connection, and they give you access when there is a suitable bandwidth. Otherwise, they tell you this will not be a smooth connection.
Also, because we are using the same tools that you are using, Adobe Connect, and it's bought directly from the producer as it is.
We have Patrick, hello. We have this green items corner, you see. So this is our connection quality that shows. But there can be many other programs that can use for online courses. But we will check this. You recommend will also.
I can say our experiments, we are using this Adobe Connect for several courses, and it's okay when the internet connections are good, and it's not good for the sound, so everyone has to turn on the microphones when we are using it, so they are only using the chat. This year we are using YouTube, a YouTube video, and I'm giving a course for people sitting around in Sweden, and all the students have the microphones open, and there are no sound problems at all. It can talk and get very good interaction. And there we also record and have their own YouTube channel for the presentation afterwards.
Is Adobe Connect free source? Or?
No, you have to pay for it.
Okay, are there any more questions? We're running over time.
This is another method that.
Okay, thank you, Turker. Thanks a lot. That was very, very interesting.
Thank you very much, Marieke, and also Patrick and John and Fernando. Greetings from Turkey to everyone.
Okay, then we go to the next session, which is interactive working group session. So this morning you were allocated a table. I'm not sure if all of you are still sitting at the table that you're supposed to be seated at. If not, maybe just redistribute yourself again. We have 3 topics, and what we're going to do is we discuss each of the 3 topics, all of you. Each table will have a facilitator, so we have allocated David Bassett here on this table. There is Mika, and there's Giuseppe there. What we will do is each group will discuss each topic for 35 minutes, and then the facilitators will change table. So the participants, you will all stay at the table that you're at, but you'll be discussing a different topic. So each of you, each group will be discussing 3 different topics. The facilitators will also explain to you the topics, a little bit more details about it. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I will keep time. After the interactive working groups, we'll have a little break, and then we'll come back plenary, and the facilitators will then report back to the whole group what came out of your discussions. So are there any questions at this stage about this exercise? No? Okay. If each of the facilitators can take a group now then, and then we can start.
Yeah.
For postgraduate, master, and doctoral program, they are obligatory to have a certain level of language, for example, English. But for undergraduate, usually most of Indonesian university we use our native language.
And that varies in pace, in rhythm, and in degree from individual to individual. And that's what we as teachers need to have in mind. That this student might go slowly and that one, but for each of them we should try to stimulate that they learn. And then whatever to
Incentives at 2 levels. So the teachers who were coming up with innovative material got a bonus, financial bonus. And second, in the evaluation of the person, there was a new box, innovative teaching. So you could score in your next evaluation, you could score because you were in fact
And
I
also
think incentives there is a good point. I like that.
incentive,
incentives.
if you have this innovative teaching methods, and maybe like you have a award for that because the student evaluation is really good and you have award for that, and the university can give you award as well.
To motivate, an incentive, that works.
And
It
also
can be at different levels.
there is a big range of the, how to say, ability of the students to do the searching, because most of the material is in English, and there is some limitation in that. If you are going to a big university, there is a good facilities, and everybody speak English. But if you go to like many small private universities, they don't have that facilities, and the students that enter that university is not, how to say it, it's not the first class student, and you really have a big challenge when you try to do something like this. Bahasa Indonesia, but that's a big university. But I'm teaching also at a small university, private university, not how to say it. Yeah, you can say it private. And if you do something like, okay, do this and search this, and they just, okay, and then come up with nothing. It's all in English.
That will connect to your things, that there's less cooperation. I think the best way to start, I mean, we cannot immediately sign contracts and apply for new projects. So we have to start somewhere with 1 or 2 students sending, and then they will go to your facilities, and these things can be used as a material, a background material, to to apply for more cooperations and all. And I know from Patrick that if you want to cooperate with EU countries and all, there is an EU cell in Cambodia and all. Maybe you should apply, or you can talk to them that we need to, I don't like to say Ghent or no, you don't need to say Ghent or no. You can say that we want to develop agriculture and we need cooperation. And EU cells, you will try to contact maybe Norway or Wageningen or Ghent. I think that's normally, I know that many of the countries they have done that, and now they have very good cooperation. So, but somebody has to take the initiative to go and knock the EU cell in your respective country. That's what I know. But it's very important that we have a change program so that they have that field experience. That's very important. Depending on whether they want to work with salmon or they want to work with shrimp and all, it's very important. But I know that funding is a big problem.
How can we make a win-win for both partners? That's for both Asia and Europe. How can we develop that win-win so everyone is winning some of these things?
Well, what would you win?
Yeah.
What do you perceive you would win?
Yeah, why do I do this?
Make it personal. Why do you do it?
For example, what I have been doing is to send the students, like PhD students, to Norway, but not to history.
Don't make it too personal. Personal experience without creating a social.
Like for the PhD students, maybe master or PhD. PhD would be more realistic because they have to accomplish, a great work, and to send them to the countries like that.
And so, people bring in guest lecturers. This is the typical way of getting lectures accomplished, is you bring in lots of guest lecturers, so then you don't really have to teach much of anything at all. But then there's no continuity. The students don't, one guest lecturer is talking about something, but they don't have the basics to understand why that's important. And it's really frustrating to me because I see that technology is not helping if the content's not there. And I really want to come back to that point because some of this innovative teaching stuff is really great, but the content also needs to be there. And I think we focus sometimes on making it pretty. Like I had a little bit of that this morning with her PowerPoints. I'm like, yes, I'd like to have pretty PowerPoints, but I'd much rather, if I'm pressed for time, worry about the content of my PowerPoints.
Then they're beautiful.
Then make them beautiful because, and then you can hand them the PowerPoints and say, look, it's on the exam. That's what you need to know, right? Because that's what they're going to ask next. Is it on the exam?
Yeah. Have their own company purchase group. Yeah, so if you can give them some experiences, exposing them to the Asian, regions and then the countries and the educational thing and the research, and then they would learn a lot more than being there in Europe. And then when they have to deal with the Asian, companies, then they learn how the culture here. The culture is very important. Yeah.
How you do business. I can see two win-win situations here. On the innovative teaching sides, you absolutely win because if you can exchange knowledge with Asia, you can exchange knowledge. And
use actual data from all the 4 of us. We have different fields. We put it in, and then we can't change a lot, but we try to maximize whatever loops that we can so that we improve that particular unit. But to be honest, it's a challenge because we have this semester was the smallest number, which is 99. Often we have 200 students, so we thought that it's perfect timing to give it a go, see whether it's going to be practical or not. But during the examination questions, the vetting session, everyone's not happy because of.
In the learning goals, usually all the teachers they write up to learn, to understand, and to be capable to apply these sort of things, and then a bit more, right? And then we have asked the teachers for each single class hour, not for the whole course, but for each lecture class that they gave, or for whatever, to write down the same, what they specifically wanted to reach there.
Usually they're written about 20 minutes on the train before I have to
It's they want
cookies.
a PowerPoint where they can study.
Exactly.
And they have a good grade.
Yes, they want to know what's on the exam. Well, it was on the PowerPoint, therefore it's on the exam. Whereas whatever they discussed in groups, I can't give them the exam answers for that.
Maybe comparing the past and the present. In the past, it was easier to find a job, and it seems in my mind that the students were studying what they wanted for a long time because they were not worried that they wouldn't find a job in the field that they like. And nowadays, many of them they are so much worried about getting a job that they ask before they finish the course, is it easy to find a job in that area? If it's not, they just might change. It's a kind of maybe comparing past and present. And the more courses exist, courses concerning institutions, the more institutions exist, which is good for competition between institutions or to make better education. But at the same time, there's more specialists, and then more difficult to find a job, and then some give up, and some are fantastic with good skills, but just no impression. I saw more than one that they loved to go to aquaculture, but then they couldn't find easily a job, and they were giving up too early and saying yes to something that they might not like so much.
That's a pity. Can we drag them back with innovative?
Well, they want to be independent, so obviously I also understand that. So.
Okay, maybe we go a little bit more towards the solutions. Let's look at the blank facilities, internet and bandwidth. What would be the suggestions for solutions? How can that be solved, that problem? The governmental?
First, at top level at the university has to be committed that this is a priority. It needs to start there, and then they need to, in their own budget, make priorities, or look for budget.
There is no possibility. So they have connected with the city hall. University has a complete
It's very
relation.
tight.
It's very tight.
Tight regulation all over.
Exactly. And I mean, I know some students, what they do is that they fail in the exam to prolong their stay as much as possible. But now what the city hall has done is that you cannot, if you are coming, because you have to come, when you go there to register, to extend, you have to provide your marks. So if you fail 2 times, they will cancel. Progressive. So if you fail, you don't get your extension. So they have already fear that. So you have to. These things are happening, but this is something political also. Well, this is what I don't know. It's the right place to say all those things, but one can do it like that. Yeah.
You see, I give you example of what we give to Cambodia. He complains now that we are not helping them, but we are doing it. Like in Thailand, like we have the scholarship, Princess Scholarship. Actually, it's the university providing the scholarship under the name of the princess. So one Cambodian student took the scholarship and studied at my university for the master program. This is out of my school, but I learned it. It's in the language area. So he came to study about how to teach English, as a foreign language. So he went to the fine art and then he finished his study, but it ended up he got a job there. So this is something, like, because he's so good, so he can perform, very well, and then after that, the professor see that he can, be a very good staff at the faculty, then the faculty hired him as the faculty member, so he get a job to be a lecturer in fine art. This is part of something, but he has to extend like on the visa and things like that. So this is the regulation of the immigration, but something happens also after the study that person would like to be, in the country, and then they, even though they have a family, the family is back home, but he have a good job, so like something like that can happen. But in Europe, it's not allowed. After the end of the scholarship, the person has to go back right away. But because this in Thailand is still some flexibility for the good human resources.
Now, if we can talk directly, if we can come directly to the business, I mean, to be honest, as I said in the beginning, I would love to collaborate from the side of Sweden, and also because I am here, I work 10% for Ghent and the remaining going to be for Sweden. I would love to collaborate. I would love to have students. I mean, okay, I know, for example, I have a student now coming from India, PhD student, but Sweden PhD is for 4 years. She's coming with 3 years money, and we will put money for 1 year. It's fair. So it's fair. So if in the table, I mean, because this is what we are sitting here, not only Asia, but within Europe also, we are very open for collaborations. And so this is very business, I'm talking about business words. So I'm open for that. And I know it's very important that and if we can have a student, so we can also, we can send our European students also. So I'm open for that.
Another point, because
this is very important.
Yes,
we
have a couple of minutes left now.
So one key activity that maybe we can think about it is like for the undergrad. This is more like for the for the graduate students, right? For the undergrad, maybe we can have the European partners, like having like an invited, like teaching for the courses that we're lacking. For example, aquaculture engineering. I just talked to him that we need it because normally in aquaculture area we don't forget about it, but we don't have a good human resource to fill up the gap. So this kind of thing, like the courses that we're lacking, you can fill up.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
In this sense. So that would be something that we can do for the undergrad as well as the graduate students. Like so this is one good point I think for all levels that you can be invited for certain courses and then we do the same. We can also go there to give them tropical aquaculture.
No, that's true even for the experience that he has in the stream farm. I think.
English is very, very important, mainly to provide mobility between countries. So the better, the more English they know, more mobility can be made. And
makes it easier.
To work and to study.
I think ASEAN Fan is really, I'm so proud of what you have accomplished here.
I mean, we talk about English, could be any other languages, but in fact it's the language that is...
It's the language of sports.
Yeah.
With all respect for all the national languages.
And in the future, I think that they recognize that if they have a good English, it opens the doors of the world are opened.
I have one more question here. The lack of knowledge, we see that merely as knowledge of one certain type of teaching, or knowledge that those types exist.
Of course.
Graduate, like I teach mostly graduate students, with masters and PhDs, and they have a certain resentment. They feel like it's childish to teach them with group discussions and things. They want lectures, they want like science details, they want...
Sorry?
And so there's a culture in my university where if you do try these things, people get the facts, man, please.
It's often also because of ignorance.
Yeah.
It looks like a nonsense, but young people many times they prefer a classical, they want to be treated as adults, as you said, and not treated as kids. So many times they ask a formal, even if they don't say these directly, in a way they ask for a formal class.
Yes, you give them jigsaw pieces and they're like, well, that's really childish.
No, that's true. That's correct.
We're adults, we don't need jigsaw puzzles.
That's true. That's true. So sometimes old methods and new methods, they can be just depending on the group.
Yeah,
But I think it has a lot to do with training. If before you start using it,
If you only have 20 or 30 students, most of the apps are free. Okay, most of the cool apps like Zittings. When you go to over 50, that's when it gets problematic. But probably, given that we are most of us thinking about the master level, or even if it is a lower level, I can see that it will be lower numbers, it will be small numbers of students. Maybe we can get away with learning many different app tools and what we call the technology enhanced learning. And basically in this case we are capacitating ourselves as teachers and at the same time delivering a module or a session or something.
But I like that. I think that's something that is very important for our MSc students, again, where you can even give online presentations, because they end up with presenting, come up with the presentation that you get crazy at.
We really like our facilitator. We give her the best grade. You can stay. We like you. Mika.
You want to discuss different issues.
Okay. Yeah. You have
have to answer.
Thank you. It was a great pleasure. What is the next topic?
It really depends on the facilitator.
Best practice examples.
Sense.
as well.
Because it's easier to move one person than
Yeah, that's what I was also
I
thinking.
just said no, the group please.
Yes, it was the
David
same.
is getting spoiled.
Just a question of 10 minutes. I think that
Please. Thank you.
you know my name.
Please. You have my...
Yeah, I got it.
Julie knows. Oh, come on, Julie.
We can.
Thank you so much.
Really good, and some of them, if you hear then out students reflect on them, it's like you see sometimes these people doing one-man shows on the stage, and people hang on their lips. That's what they do.
Yeah.
There is nothing wrong with it if you can do that. But they are very seldom. They're rare.
But that's kind of skill
That's
that we
talent.
need to learn. That,
And I don't have that
but
talent.
talent is learnable. There are sometimes.
Actually, how to increase our talent?
At university level, these were skills that were not taught. You were either a good communicator or you were not. Because I don't know, in most countries when you become a primary school teacher, you are actually taught how to be a teacher.
Yes.
In some countries, after to become a high school teacher, it's like you do your BSc and
Yes.
then you teach school.
Yes,
So
true.
you have
Not a
nobody
tertiary
ever
level.
Yes,
did
but now
at university lecture and course.
In
So you
Australia,
were
no.
either a good
We
communicator
in Wageningen, in the Netherlands,
but
we
when you
have
were young or no?
no. But at this moment, if you want to teach, you have to follow along.
Well, I was just so we're just looking at the third bullet, which is so the first thing that I raised is
Collaboration is that do we feel that there should be more or there should be less? So there was certainly
Can you repeat it like that?
what collaboration.
That's how I've seen, yes.
So I asked what collaboration is there? And is there a need for there to be more collaboration? The answer to which was yes. And in terms of what collaboration is there was felt there was good engagement with exchanges, engagement, because it's funded postgraduate, but the undergraduate teaching, there's no real collaboration engagement between the two different regions. Primarily because let me finish. Because we respect the views of the other people. So felt, and the justification was that because it was felt it was too expensive, and that there were language issues. The point was made that each country needs to consider the different levels of educational and teaching collaboration required, then what technologies could be used to support that, what support is required, and what was it trying to do. There was a requirement for greater collaboration to increase the cultural understanding and appreciation that would in itself lead to innovation. Collaboration to plug gaps in knowledge. So, the example of Northern Hemisphere institutes like knowledge and ornamentals, which are of course against cold water somewhat.
Not to say about technology, if we want to innovate from a technological point of view, technology still has several challenges as we see here, and we know. So,
yeah, good one. This one didn't pop up there. Yeah, it's interesting.
We have accreditation in Indonesia too, but the strict rules more to the, like for example, the length of study time. So for example, the student, we will have a
Yeah, nothing changed.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then we can combine it with one of the...
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so farm practice. Okay, so
study and yeah, that is the limiting, that something that I also personally found that it's not, it doesn't make sense. As for other challenges in my case, for example, for innovative teaching, because the teacher or the lecturer in my university or in my department mostly are senior lecturers. So sometimes they have like different levels of technology, skills in technology, like computers. They shift from the overhead projector to PowerPoint. So it's really.
So it's technology illiteracy. So they're not literate on, which is. I think the technology is moving so fast. You really need to be updated, and you need training and capacitation on a frequent basis. I would say, even us in Europe, I would say. Not at the start. That we have a technology illiteracy. So we need to be literate about technology and use it. And it's not only in Asia. It's because it's just moving too fast. You can't cope. It's.
And also changing the mindset from like teacher-based to student, teacher-centered to student-centered. It's very hard because the senior lecturers they're like I mean it's.
And of course, many times when we talk about innovation, we think about IT tools. And of course, this is also innovation, but simply learning from a colleague how he is doing things a different way than I have been doing. And that can be very constructive, because this is where you learn from each other. You take up things that through experience you have developed, I have developed, and you blend, you come with some new blended way of...
better way.
We had courses. The first year instructors were all required to take this unit in Canada. This was when I was at the university there, and it was very helpful because they sort of gave us a formula. And I don't know if this is innovative, but at least it gave us a formula for like doing more interactive teaching. And so each, you couldn't just give a textbook summary and then an exam. And if you did that, like you like the supervisors in the courses would basically throw it out and say, sorry, you have to redo it. So, but once you had this formula, it's really easy to be innovative, because you realize, okay, it's all in how you structure the course from the very beginning.
You probably know them, and they usually do not focus on the master levels. They usually go for the undergraduate level, for university, or even at vocational training. Now there is a lot. And that exists, and I don't know, I think DAD in Germany is doing something similar.
Yes.
I don't know from the other European countries that they have these kind of things, but maybe they have also.
Yeah.
So there exists some of these, and then you develop curriculum, not even courses. It's curricula, it's a way of thinking on how do I train, if I want to have people that are ready to work somewhere in the industry.
The projects, then they'd be super innovative. They'd go, can I do this, this, and this? I'm like, that sounds like a great idea. I would never even have thought to assign that. But because they were allowed that as part of their evaluation, almost you paid them to be innovative in a sense. Like they got a better grade if their project was much more innovative. And weird was not okay. Like there's a difference between innovative and just bizarre. Right? I mean, I was dealing with agriculture engineering students. If engineers can be said to be innovative. But they had to go approach somebody in industry and convince them that this idea was worth pursuing, and if so, and they had to have an industry partner. And it really gets them going because you structure it that they have to be the ones to come up with the innovativeness. They're directing their learning.
You say bizarre. What do you mean? Like the
I don't know. I mean,
example of bizarre teaching. How would it be?
I had courses, for instance, when I was a graduate student, where instead of submitting a term paper, which was the convention at the time,
So there is a deep technological barrier that goes further and beyond lecture. It's just a technological issue.
So another thing I want to add here. Actually, I agree with what our friend raised up. But from my challenge from my side is like the students. Currently, some students, not some, let's say some, or half, more than half, they don't want to study history or aquaculture.
Yes. They don't
And the
want
first year, for example, it's 30 students.
But why do they don't want to? What's
They said
this
after,
lack of motivation?
some of them they don't understand about the importance or advantage of aquaculture or fishing class. But when they go to field, to visit the field or to practice a field, because aquaculture is hot, it's a dirty hand.
Yeah.
And sometimes they come back, they decided, I should move, I should shift to the other faculty. They want to sit at office with a dress, nice dress,
corporate
and
life.
something like that.
So they just want to get the diploma. Okay.
Yeah.
So they don't
Well,
care.
That's a big problem.
They don't
So I
care
know
about
that
this.
because I have been interacting with the first question, and that's why students coming from all those countries, the first thing they always ask is about job. They ask the first thing about how to get a job. That's the first thing they ask. And then, they are paid, so you have to motivate them so that they continue 2 years and then they go back and this is a big problem. And I have a little bit of also experiences because I have studied in India. So I have some experiences in India that, like the way you said, they wanted to be a doctor and then somehow they end up with aquaculture and then they don't want to study for 1-2 years and then they have no choice. They are in the middle of some degrees and then finally they get a degree from aquaculture and then they choose to go to MBA or something and they end up with somewhere completely different. There are a number of students who have end up.
And you grade them on the innovativeness of their projects and how they design them.
Yes. No, we grade them based on their hard work.
How many fish?
Not really how many fish, but how the students are involved.
Yes.
Yes, how they involved, and then how many money they generate.
Okay, that's
How did
good.
you assess them individually or like group assessment?
It's a group assessment, yeah. But of course, each group they will be attached to one of some called like a mentor. This mentor can be a postgraduate student, can be a staff in the hatchery. So this hatchery staff will keep an eye monitoring their own groups. So this student is not working, they will report to the course coordinator. This guy is not working, and then we'll call them out, something like that.
I would get students to rate the other members of their team at the end, and that was part of the grades. So like I say, you can integrate this so that they have, if somebody's a complete slacker and doesn't do their work, guess what? The rest of the team members know about it. And so as long as you incorporate that into how they're being evaluated, they police themselves without you needing to do it. But again, these are all tricks that we learn so that the students are completely, like the teacher's job is only to facilitate. I mean, you can't make a student learn who doesn't want to learn. I mean, at the end of the day, you're not going to, but you can create a lot of incentives for them to want to learn.
They only need to pay for their personal expenses and also for the flight. And I think that would engage the students more because they would be exposed to international situation and they can critically think the differences and they can compare what is in Indonesia and what's in Malaysia or in other countries, and so they would have more experience, practical experience during their bachelor degree.
Summer school also. That's a kind of a thing where the two regions, where that's your question actually, really can do more in, because if you think many of these things that were written, it's nice to have a video coming from Asia here or vice versa, but it's how should I say, it's casuistic, it's incidental issues. But as a structural approach, organizing summer courses where you invite teachers from both sides, that's something that fits within the possibilities of the universities in Europe and also here. I think that would be interesting.
So increasing summer courses, internships, and just exposure, but at a bachelor level, at a master's level?
Usually, I think also in master.
It must be master's or PhD.
So the internship
master's
for bachelors, it will be too expensive.
Can I ask something? What you mentioned, these aims, yeah?
Yes.
Is it working at Southeast Asia level, or is it your university, or how does it work?
Actually, this is the limited number of the university in, if I not forget, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Japan.
Okay, so it's a similar thing that we have in Europe, which is aims. So like something that could be explored is to see. I mean, I know in Erasmus I've had students that have gone to Latin America. When well, did you go for Erasmus? Oh no, I went to Chile. One of my nephews now decided to go to Chile instead of staying in Europe. So it's something that it's probably feasible to explore in a more formal way to find out. It's not for all students by any means, but there's some tools there that can be a bit better looked at.
In Wageningen, all our students have this internship, and 80% goes really outside Europe. And they go to Asia, to Latin America, to Africa, to the United States, Canada, wherever, to Australia, and they have to pay themselves the travel. We don't pay for it. And so there are students who have less resources. They might go to France or to Denmark.
And also for the research, some of your students are in Samarang now.
Then it's depending on what they like. Because not each student, some students are very, I want something with salmon, then we don't send them to Samarang. And that's the way it works.
We have 3 university students from Wageningen at the moment doing the research.
So that's the reason why also these Wageningen students, we have difficulty to have them going with Erasmus to Portugal or to
Did you read it?
That's true. I mean,
The question is, should I write it as a separate one, teacher as such, or is it more on the skills of the teacher? How important is I write it as an extra bullet?
some people have that.
Yeah, you either have it or you don't have it.
So they are really.
But then to
like,
recognize it if you don't have it, that's another story.
some people are very good orators. They can really present something, nothing, and they can make a beautiful story. And you just stay like,
It's natural.
It's natural. Now, if you inject innovative teaching, it's not going to change. But some people have the quality. I think we have one here, David.
But there is some only. But most of them they update. The teacher, I think they update themselves every day. But some they still sleep and not get up. Because the IT is updated. But the people, the human is not updated. Sometimes it's very hard. Yeah.
I think that the university has to rank. I mean, there is a system of evaluating the teachers.
They are given about 1 year, so they should have do their best during this 1 year.
But what if the fish die towards the end of the semester?
Then you're lost.
So it's real life.
It's actually
real life.
blended between the basic subject and what's called business or entrepreneur. Is it entrepreneur?
And I presume that the colleagues that from the year before, from the year after,
they will tell the students, the colleagues the year before, that hey, don't go with so high densities, don't be careful with the risk, you are going to lose everything. So they teach each other.
During the culture period, when the project is going on, the mentor sometimes will go and walk around and say, hey, your fish is in trouble, you have to change water. So if half day, the fish start gaping or everything, and then mentor will call, hey, come, your fish is dying. Yeah, some sort like that. But if they are not doing anything, then just wait for them to wash the tank tomorrow. We are not going to help them. Yeah, some sort like that.
I would love to continue on this one, but I
Yeah,
have to give
yes, please.
Then I come back here.
Sure.
You have to tell me as well things that didn't work.
Yes.
But first of all, what sort of material or methods do you think you're using that is good for students?
Well, what I have done so far, I'm in this field. What I've done so far, the first, I only have to teach like four times. For one course, we have like 16, how to say?
Credit hours?
Not 16 credit hours, but for one semester the class meet 16 times. 16 weeks. Okay. So I only teach like 4 weeks. It's like team teaching. Usually what I do, the first class, I am lecturing. This is what we're gonna do.
Like Thailand, I'm not sure about Indonesia, but Thailand and Vietnam is like quite advanced with shrimp. In that sense, it will only benefits one country. Like, because Thailand with shrimp production is quite extensive. Malaysia not so, like, there are, but not as much as Thailand. Thailand, Vietnam is really advanced in shrimp production. Like, especially nowadays, Vietnamese, although the production is growing, still they are leading in that. So I guess to see as one commodity per se, probably like one way to stage two, but it could be something else, because if Southeast Asia only has full production, groups and Sivas is our advantage. Like Malaysia, Indonesia, some of the Thailand produce a large amount of groupers and Sivas. However, our hiccups is sustainable seeds productions. That's the hiccup. Europeans have certain levels of, like, if they want to have something, they want it like certified, like the food. Yes, it's the whole system, whole cycle. For us, like for me, like groupers, more marine fish, like Indonesia are the highest producer of groupers, but still most of the seeds from wild. They catch it from wild and then they nurse it for a few months and then they export it, or they send it to the farming. So I guess I do not know, because I'm still young in this type of things, but the way I see things, yes, shrimp could be something that like one country can provide, which is Thailand and probably Vietnam, but it's not going to benefit the whole of the Southeast Asia region, and also like Bangladesh, they are the advantage is on the marine fishes and also freshwater fish. Like Malaysia, I think marine fish, like as I said, sea bass, groupers. Our advantage on the tilapia, but I think we are still behind compared to Philippines and Indonesia, because so these type of things, and I'm not sure whether Europeans go with tilapia for the main fish consumption.
No, but if it might differ between the countries, but to my view, most tilapia are coming from China.
Yeah, because it's cheaper. It's cheaper. So, but this is the thing. But probably the one in Southeast Asia still lag. I'm not sure if we are aware of that. The regulation.
In time, that will also evolve. But for now, sometimes this is a problem. The lack of support leads to play unsafe. Yeah, so you can either be in a country that has wonderful internet and all the facilities you want. Sometimes technology fails. You're giving a class very innovative with movies and so on, but then your movie does not want to play, and you have this problem, and then your class starts being annoying, and then it's easier to do ex cathedra. And you go back to where you were. So that is a challenge. the workload, the time that you will put in it, for the lecturer to do it, but also for the students. They're very reluctant towards innovative teaching, they said, because of it takes time for them also to prepare. It's easier for them to just listen to the class and study. So there the solution was that they said, okay, we need to have them, give them the same time frame they have normally for this course in hours to follow the lessons and to study it. And within the same time frame, everything needs to happen in the innovative teaching method as well, so that it's not an extra workload. And then the same for the lecturers. And then there was a solution at certain universities, it's top down. So the head of the department says, okay, you want to do an innovative teaching, I support you. We take a little bit of your workload so that you have time to put yourself into the innovative teaching. So that might be a solution, but you have to be supported from the top. Train the students, time frame. Yeah, big groups are always a big challenge with innovative teaching. So knowing that, can we go back to ours and maybe get inspired? Or should I leave it?
I think technology can be something that can address the big groups, for instance. That's where technology can help.
I need two blackboards.
At the same time, big groups on the bottom, so maybe technology can help in it to facilitate communication.
What we are doing at MMU is we are in the large courses, basic courses, we are recording every lecture, and they are tracking how much the recorded are used, and they see that the students are both on the lecture and they watch the recording afterwards. But that's, for instance, mathematics, there are difficulties that they don't understand.
When you're preparing, cooking.
Cooking class.
For the lab for the students. So the judges will come with moral 7 or GP judges. So they will pick one, the best one, the winner. But they cannot repeat whatever that we have in the market.
So it's like what's the name? Masterchef.
Actually, for the aim.
Fantastic.
So it's one that they can think out of the box.
Fantastic.
And we plan to market the product.
Are there products that are coming out of such exercises? New products?
Yeah, new products are coming very soon, but we cannot release that right now. We are planning that for another subject for next semester. We are planning to generate money as well. But it's still that's in the process.
But that will be good to bring it up when we are talking about
No.
You might come up with ideas for new product developments in Europe.
Don't say it in the other group. Don't say it. I'll put it in the presentation.
2 times, please.
I'll put it in the presentation.
Do the students then write a business plan for their ideas?
That might be interesting for our students to be enriched from both sides.
Yes,
Because also
exactly.
our European students come and work here. I mean,
Another thing that I don't know, the way I see things in aquaculture, like if we look at China, I know that it's not a very good example, but we do have Thailand, we do have Vietnam, like a quite massive producer of the aquaculture. But the rest of the country is a very small, tiny country. Like, you know, whereas like European are very advanced and or has all the advanced technology, and the productions of the aquaculture is at a business level. Whereas in Southeast Asia, not many. We are.
You might guide any even.
Yeah, no, it's they're coming to the lecture. We was thinking about that also. They will not come. We are recording it. They're still coming along to students.
But I feel that it would be there would be cultural differences.
Yeah.
I think in some cultures maybe they won't come to the lecture. I'm not sure. I'm just saying.
Is it a challenge to keep the profession alive?
Is it a challenge to be
teaching? Is innovative teaching a challenge towards a professionship of the job as a lecturer?
The job is certainly changing. I don't know what it will be in 10 years' time. I have no idea, but it will certainly be different.
If we hang this on economy also, why can't we use the recorded lectures? Then you can only have 4 lectures this year, you can use 10 from last year.
So I think, yeah, maybe if this goes too far on technology and if you lose the importance of student-teaching interaction, we are going to have an extinct profession, and we are going to head towards one which is just a learning technologist, the person that deals with technology.
Would the teacher be there, or they just watch the video themselves?
No, when it's an ordinary teacher, the teacher is there, but afterwards they are watching it themselves.
Because they are very daring to invest money. They invest in farming.
But that's personal. That has nothing to do with the exchange. It's a personal observation, maybe. Or belief. I do believe that also in Asia you will go away from the subsistence kind of farming. They will disappear in the end. And the sector, I mean, if we talk about quantities for the 9 billion people in the future, that will be produced by commercial farmers anyway. They can be smallholders, but they will be very, very entrepreneurial. Otherwise they disappear. And that's something that I say in my university. In my teaching, I do want to focus on those, not on the subsistence farm. It's not the future. So also here in Asia, it will change, and you see it in there. And you see this. It happens in different ways, because in Vietnam they choose for that bulk production for the export, and that has led to consolidation, and all the smallholders are now employees in the big companies, basically. And it's very different here in Indonesia, and also in Malaysia, and in Bangladesh. It's very, very small.
But still this subsistence farming, we deal with.
No, because in my opinion there is a difference between university and polytechnic, whatever name that you are using. And the borderline is very fluid in Asia. To some extent this is good. Whereas in Europe we have a lot of our institutions that are too academic, very, very qualified, very academic, but where at the end the students are complaining that there is not enough hands-on, that there is not enough creativity that you do. So I think this project is a unique opportunity to match these two and see where there is maybe too much of one kind in one region and too less.
We get into too many legalities in our countries, if students invent something, suddenly it's a big headache, and so a lot of teachers actually shy, or even taking students on field trips is a big liability problem, and so you just sometimes don't do it. Whereas in Asia you can do that, you just go, let's get on a bus and go to Thailand for Penang, and they go. A couple of students, they get stopped at the border and they get pulled off the bus, and well, just leave them behind.
Consequences. So what they're doing smart to do. We need to be very foreseeing. What are the consequences? How this really changes our behavior and behavior in the students towards education. So I think it is very dangerous to be if we don't use this one.
This is an interesting thing to say. I think we should add that. Help me to write it down.
Yes, not autistic education is changing so fast. We probably don't even agree on what science means between us, or we don't agree on what higher education should be. I have probably a different concept of what higher education is, which will be very different from a business kind of person that is running the university to start with. So
that it's a fast change, it needs a good vision, and then the solution should be that the top of the university needs to create this vision and then back it up or stand up.
To know what is going to create. For instance, if we develop a lot of learning materials that we take, why shall we do the lectures next year then?
And I think we need to learn from previous case studies, especially the States. So the States started with the MOOC in 2008. what, 8, 9, I don't know, 2006 Khan Academy started. So you just need to go back. So the States, the development was big classrooms, huge classrooms, and now they're going backwards again to smaller classrooms. And you know, this goes in cycles. So if you could write the EURASTiP and see in the UK starting to have big classes, which they don't. I mean, I don't think they work. It's very impersonal, and we're just a factory of standard knowledge in a way, and lack of creativity to further on with different knowledge. But that depends what you think higher education should be for. It's a very deep, very deep.
Asking about definition of innovation, using a previous knowledge, but in a different way. It's not something new, it's something different.
Just for practical classes, they can touch.
The Vietnamese students in Ghent learn to work with very sophisticated protein skimmers. We allow them to disassemble. Now you go to Canteur and there are shops where they are selling and making the local protein skimmers.
I like that.
Yeah. I still want to. Did you finish? No, can I still? I want to say something negative.
Yes, please.
On innovation. That and I think it's a little bit repeating what Anissa also mentioned here. We as teachers, and I speak now for myself, I would love to find more time to apply more of these innovative things. And it was my, of course, now it's over, but I really wanted to have a lot of short video clips on a lot of, but it takes the time to make all these video clips. I started and at a certain moment I had to give up. I didn't have the time.
Did you stop because of the time involved in making them, or because of bureaucracy?
No.
Years ago, we also had the same meeting about how to it was a EU meeting in Germany. So we have people from different countries, and they also had similar meetings. What would be the vision for aquaculture development and all these things? So we had similar meetings. They have met some points and all, and I have to say that they have considered those things. The project, they have considered those things. That's, at least I got the feedback from Patrick, because they have really noted down and they have considered in their vision. I hope some of the things can end up.
Very good farming, can really validate
The European
so this is happening with the Europe and Asian.
Thank you for your contributions. I have to leave you. You get somebody else now. I don't know which. Lost. I knew where I'm going. But that's really interesting. And as I say, this is something we were looking at. It's interesting, actually. I've been given
We are with number one. We're going to discuss the best practice examples of what you think is innovative and the materials you used. Okay, so we heard some from Sarah's presentation of the materials, and the methods, but it would be good as well to learn from you. So what I want you to think about is what you are doing that you think is good for the students, and what you did in the past that was wrong. Okay, so it didn't work, and I would like to start this session with a definition. What's innovation for you?
In teaching.
Innovation.
Just innovation.
Yes. Who wants to start?
Is it on etymology of the words? Let's see.
They've all left. What did you do to them?
I think I stressed it too much. We went for coffee.
And you started just doing it here.
I've got Marika. Marika, what do you think about collaboration?
Without reading the definition, Sarah.
I just wanted to see where it comes from, the words.
So, what do you think is innovation?
it's something to do out of the box, no?
Okay.
Can I ask if it is necessarily something good or bad?
Sorry?
Is it something that you consider intrinsically good or bad? I just read the definition, so. They are two different definitions, that's why.
Innovations, well, to be honest, innovation sometimes can be not be always good. I will not say not good. It is not always the case that it is always good. So I put it like this.
Okay. Yeah, just wondering.
I only found two.
That's what it's not very intensive session. Internet-based tools, it's nice, but it's itself not innovative. It's an instrument. Innovative educational concept that has to do educational teaching. Educational skills that we are not accustomed to.
And also, as you addressed just now, to have this technology kind of things, you need to have extra skill,
Also.
which like some people are they willing to invest on that? Like
extra time.
Yeah, some people may not be really
No,
explore.
the way what Sarah was telling, that's too much for me. I find it very beautiful, but I'm not going to spend that time myself.
Yes,
But you have to have people doing that.
Yeah,
You have a student who can help you, so that's basically a matter of fun.
But for some people like me, I'm I can do it easily. So I don't think it's helped me a lot. Like I can easily do that. So it's different. So that's why I say how
Younger
much
lecturers would.
Yeah, it's not necessarily. There are some new, young generation.
Think you should enjoy most.
I just we discussed, of course, because we a little bit moved our track, so we start discussing so many things. So it will be repetition again. So I do two things. I see that it is effective. Well, not always 100%, but it's effective. That is again motivation. Number one. Number two is project-based learning. That's always I apply. Project-based learning. So meaning that I always try to involve them in practicals. The subject, I provide them with course material and involve them in the whole practical, get them to do the things the way they want, in the sense with the bracket, not later. They can do everything, they have the certain deadlines, they learn by themselves. Okay. But they are always welcome, they have always interactions. It's not only for 3 or 4 hours. Okay. So if I provide them that type of assignment or project-based learning, they're always welcome me to interact.
So that's a feedback and forward.
Feed forward. From 9 to 5 they can come, they can use my WhatsApp and all those things. I find it effective.
Okay.
That's what my personal experience.
And what do you think it didn't work in the past that you changed?
I have been using it from the day one. Because I was a student, I was taught like that by one of my teachers. Okay. So I liked it because it
as
remained.
a student, I'm insisting on what you didn't like, which I don't like. I prefer to, as a student, what you didn't like in teaching.
Coming and giving all materials, this much of things, taxonomy, bugging. I don't remember.
Too much material.
Things that you can't remember.
I can't remember anything.
Yeah, I agree. Things that you only have for assessment and you just...
I wish I can really that should not be used, but you ask them, they ask them to memorize the whole experimental methodology. And if you go to a lab, you don't memorize anything. You take your protocol, put it there, and then these are I hate this. I never try to memorize something. It should be it should be concept-based rather than facts. That's what I believe. My point of view.
That's a good point of view. Julie?
For me, what I think the best for my student is they like challenge.
Challenge?
Yeah, so I like to challenge them to find, for example, I teach about Thai food culture. So
methods. Obviously, that it's impossible to include all information, but with examples of Europe and Asia, could be the species, could be projects, could be the environmental impact. So pictures giving because the target public, the target could be public, general public, could be students, could be teachers, and they could use that as examples of agriculture in a different continent.
And then we would see the big differences, and I just take now Indonesia, with all the small farms that you have on the grouper hatcheries, the type of backyard farms, which are still very popular in countries like in Indonesia, and in Europe, this is simply gone. This is finished. And it would be good because I think what you do here in Asia is a business. It works. It is a very successful business. In Europe, those who didn't consolidate disappeared. Yeah.
No, but as a teacher, I think teaching in one way, like for example, you have a course material and then you have to deliver this to the student, but you don't know exactly what. It's like maybe it's because also as we can also feel as a student we don't want to be like sit in a class and then just listen. So when I have to do that in the class, because sometimes for example, in one course we have to share with other lecturers, and they just give, okay, this is the course material you have to deliver, and you don't have the time to adjust it. Yeah, to adjust, and then so what should I do then? Okay. And it also like it's when you feel not comfortable, you don't feel comfortable with the course material, it will also like the class is going to it's very bored.
Okay, so teaching material, no, you want to study for exam. Okay.
For me, what I like is related to on the ground, on farm teaching. On farm teaching, on farm training.
Farm teaching, okay.
Yeah, not some, on farm teaching.
Yeah.
On site, yeah. On farm. On site.
On site, yeah.
Yeah, on site teaching. And role play.
Role play,
I pretty like to do it. Yeah, of course another methodology I like also, but both methodology I pretty like it. For this slide, I don't like series up. Just sitting on the class and then teach a theory or blah 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 blah. No more theory to me.
Mm. So you can do something about that.
Sometimes theory is from another case.
I was one of, well, my story is similar to Anna. I was a bad student. Like, no, they didn't pay attention. It's just I got bored all the time from lectures. And I promised myself that if I ever become a teacher one day, I will try to avoid at all costs to be boring. So sometimes I succeed, sometimes I fall into that thing, but then I go back. But you always need to pay attention to the students if they're yawning. You can't help everybody, but you can do your best.
Yeah.
So fun practice, role play, this is just fantastic. These are things the students are out of the seat and the chair and the bench, and then can go in the farm, see with their own eyes, experience them. So I really like them.
Those those methodology that we use. Can say almost all students, they really prefer with this methodology. We ask them compared to sit in the class and so just learning from listening from teacher teach them. So and farm they see and they open their mind, open their eye, and they see the environment around the side. Can do directly at the ground. I think more or less they benefit from this one, but also problem. Yeah, also challenge. When we do more at the farm, but some students they change their mind. Like I raise up. Oh, I come back. I want to work with the aircon. So for cultural studies do like this. So maybe no good future for them. So they have to change to MBA, to change to business, to change to banking or something like that. Also positive and
Positive?
negative.
Yeah, definitely.
But most positive.
I do a lot of activities in my class, but one of that I can say is problem-based learning, where we give them some problems. You do not introduce the topic to them, you just give them pictures, which are known as triggers, and you trigger their mind to find out what is the topic or subject. And then they will come up with some questions, and they will find the notes themselves. Like they will find out about the topic themselves, and then they share among themselves. Or in the end, they will have like a poster presentation, parallel presentation.
You give them some clue, right? Like,
Yeah.
for example, if you're a teacher
Even
in
when I
parasitology,
say the
they know it's
topic
a
is
parasite.
this, they still find it a bit difficult.
Okay.
So, but the thing is that there is no lecture. There is no lecture. They are trying to find out the topic, and they find the information that they need to know about that topic.
An institution in Europe and an institution in Southeast Asia to connect and to have an exchange between them. And if that was the sort of output that could come out of one of these exchanges, the fact that they were interesting. But in terms of the teaching, there's parity between them. So if you had a module at a university in Malaysia, it would be recognised by a European.
Yeah, it needs, well, this
So
is
the benchmarking
credit,
of accreditation
credit
hasn't
exchange, for example, is already approved between some universities in Europe and some universities in Asia, Wageningen, Sterling, Ghent, but with EURASTiP, we would like to see this happening so that the guidelines for universities in Malaysia and Indonesia could be used as a reference to convince your authorities to model.
You're keen to speak.
No,
Just because I'm with my shoulder.
No, it's
I've been sensing the tension.
What's going on? Somebody's receiving
Turkey coming back. Turkey coming back.
We finished your session. You're a bit saved.
No, the international mobility is extremely important, and the results in Europe, at least between European countries with Erasmus, is extremely positive. But between Asia and Europe, probably it would be important to harmonize courses. Maybe one day in the future, accreditation, so this to be easier for the students to know.
call it, like what is in your system, it should be compatible with what is in our system, and it will require finance, I guess, and also some time to develop the not similar but compatible program between university in Europe, between these partner universities. And I think that's a good idea. And just how are we going to do that? And the second comment is about what Joyce already mentioned about how are we going to do the exchange. Well, what I think is if we have like a summer course, so some students from Sweden in group and with the teacher come to Indonesia and have this real field experience in the field. Of course, we can design the course in advance, what we're gonna do in the field and etc. And also some students from Indonesia can come and see how advanced the salmon culture is in Norway, for example. No, you're in Sweden, right?
Sweden.
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
that's okay.
So something like that, because Europe also has this advanced aquaculture, and we are very diverse in Indonesia. That maybe in Europe they not exist anymore, but they can learn. So the students from Indonesia. So summer course, I think, is a good place to start.
I fully agree. This is a good way to start because with the summer course, this could.
So I guess that motivates you as well to be a good lecturer, no?
I'm not sure if I am a good lecturer.
No, but
just started. Me too.
What motivates you? That no, it's
What
a trigger.
motivate-
The fact that you didn't like certain things when you were a student.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean that worked for me.
Yeah.
The motivation. I'm not saying the results, but
Yeah. No.
the motivation is definitely there. Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm going to isolate myself to prepare the presentation, and I will be presenting it on the screen, which is, I think is much better for communication.
Sarah, I have one question about your previous. Why do you think it's best to put the texture in the background?
I just read it. I read it somewhere that for some students to have the white contrast with the black sometimes make difficulties in viewing it. If you want to bring
To prepare it, and I think many universities have big plans, but to fill them in, then suddenly the reality comes: time, experience, money.
And universities have policies. We cannot simply upload anything to the public before screening by the university. So we have to go through the university screening before we can publish. That will take us a lot of time.
There's a long process to get the approval.
Yeah. And they need us to embed the university logo there. Copyrights
everything.
So really it's looking like summer schools and exchange programs and things is much more, there's a much stronger appetite for that sort of thing.
Well, because it is easier to do. I think many of us, I remember I had also high expectations to do that because You do
resistance.
you do a lot with industry, from university to the industry. But the question in the other direction, do you have industry people who give classes in your program?
Yeah, but not regular.
Yeah.
Like,
The fact that you do it.
Yes.
The fact that you do it.
Yeah. At
Do
least
they
we
get
have.
paid? How does it work? 'Cause I've had
We get paid, but mostly we pay for their flight expenses, flight tickets.
Costs.
Yeah.
Costs are costs, but no.
So it is more they're coming for one class or a couple of classes, and then
Or sometimes we just have a general lecture where all the students from all years coming, and he will give the lecture about what a student want. Actually, we ask student, what do you want to? We will have this lecture, and who do you have suggestion? So what do you need? And then we contact.
In Europe is growing, at least in Germany, is growing the interest of selling live streams, so Panama, at least Panama. So not in large scale, but there must be technology and knowledge to keep streams.
In the Netherlands, in Belgium, we have one close to Brussels. Live, yeah.
Yes. So instead of selling shrimps frozen, it's growing, and I believe that it will grow more and more in the future. To even if it's not to breed, because it might bite a lot in some countries.
From US.
And to grow them in tanks, so they can sell live shrimps in supermarkets.
Lobster and oysters.
Yeah. So
But it's niche market, and it's high because they sell it at 40 US dollars a kilo. But there is a market for it. Some restaurants But I would like.
yes, one last point. You're free to go because that was the alignment. So if you need your tea, then you're allowed to let
Are we allowed to go have tea?
A last question, and I got the ID. I got the ID from the question of David. I know that in some of your countries, and I'm referring now to Vietnam and to Thailand, but maybe it's in other countries as well, you still have universities and you still have research institutes.
Yes.
Is there interaction? Do you send some of your students to the research institutes, and do you invite staff from the research institutes to teach in your programs? Yes,
Sometimes we co-supervise the students.
Very good. Okay.
You've all earned a cup of tea.
Thank you.
EURASTiP generosity.
Cup of tea is needed. You want to go to my room?
You have to. Could we get in? Yeah. This could be a project. Yeah, but we need money. No. I think it's a great idea, but we need money. Not in the book.
Will you walk down there with me quickly or point me?
Because this would be unique to compare. So for you, it would be good to see what is there, and for them to see what is there.
Sure, of course, because it's a document. It's even.
Geef jij practice examples?
Dat is Giuseppe dan.
Ja, je bent met PowerPoint.
Ja. Jij gaat? Jij wil eerst staan, ja?
Ik heb vanaf ben zoeken.
Ja, nee, dat is goed. Wil je... Oké, ik ga zeggen dat we weer gaan beginnen. Wil je een...
Anders hier ik wil terug kunnen laten. Dan kan ik het hier gewoon opleggen. Nee, maar ik moet heen. Ik ga hierin zetten. Dan kan ik mijn boekje hier leggen.
Oké. So, hello everyone. We will start again with the final session now. So that's going to be the wrap-up of the interactive working groups. So each of the facilitators will just very briefly present to the whole group what came out of each of the topics. So Mieke.
Guys gave me ladies first example. Okay, my groups dealt with, you all dealt with all of them, but I'm getting really tired. Please forgive me. So I dealt with the challenges and how to deal with them regarding innovative teaching, and I'm just gonna rapidly run through it. One of the biggest challenges is the facilities and infrastructure of your institutes and your facilities. Internet being maybe on the first spot. Bandwidth, also an important one. Cybersecurity came up. We didn't deal with it today, but I presume this is really one to consider. Regarding infrastructure, space, a teaching farm, that one came up as well to be a very interesting one. But then the next biggest challenge is finance, finding funding for innovative teaching. Time. I think we all agree already, the teachers, but also the students, the workload is very high. Teachers have a lot of other stuff to do regarding teaching. So it's very hard to find the time to do all this because it takes time. It takes time to get the knowledge within you and then time to do it. So, big challenge. Training and knowledge. Knowledge not only about what kind of methods of innovative teaching exist, but also within one system, the knowledge to be able to work with it. We remember the PowerPoint this morning. Skills. Technical skills, because everything moves so fast, it's very hard to follow. Educational skills. Both for students and lecturers, as I said. Both are sometimes afraid, reluctant towards innovative teaching. We need to do an effort to also motivate the students to see the benefit of it, because they kind of prefer sitting lazy, falling asleep when you give boring ex-cathedra lessons. So we need to motivate them, we need to explain, very important, why innovative teaching is also good for them. We also need technical support. Even if internet connections works very well and we're very well equipped, sometimes the video just does not play and then you're there with all those students looking at you. Another challenge, the job of a lecturer itself. With all these changes towards innovation, where will we end up in 50 or 100 years? Will this job still exist? Or will it be like old lecturers already dead on the internet teaching? The consequences of all these fast changes should be considered and reflected and evaluated, and visions towards the future need to be developed. Awareness of all this is very important. One of the solutions, detailed solutions, is we could try to, for example, if we have a senior lecturer or a young one, but that's just a very big fan of ex-cathedra lessons, we need to motivate those guys for innovative teaching, maybe by just forcing it to do it,
but you can't force it without having proof that it is good. So we need to really constructively within your institute motivate those people, evaluate, and motivate them with results of those innovative teachings that you will be forcing up on them. Another one that came up was with incentives, motivate them with incentives. If they use PowerPoints, then they go to visit a conference or they whatever. Regarding time, working together, sharing stuff, sharing our knowledge, helping each other might help us with the time constraint. We are too much individually based. The time itself will also solve a lot. The problems that we are facing now, maybe like internet, maybe it will be a problem in 10 years or in 20 years. Maybe there is a global server providing everybody for internet, good fast internet. Who knows what the future will do? Modular systems may also solve a lot of problems. If a lecturer only has to think about one subject and also the student for a couple of weeks in a row instead of today, we have and pathology and this and this and this. Same for the lecturer. I really like the quote that you don't have to be a high-tech person to be an innovative teacher. And I really like that one. Even if internet does not work, if you're a little bit innovative, a little bit of yeah, whatever, I'm too tired. Creative, thank you. To be innovative, oh, thank you very much. I think I've said enough. We have 2 more to follow before you can all go to the conference dinner and take a shower first. Thank you very much.
It's working. Well, I'll let you into a secret. The reason I am tired and the reason Mika is tired is because last night we were playing pool or billiards, depending how you want to call it, in the hotel lobby. And I would love to say that Mika beat me on both games that we played. It's more a case that Mika managed to lose a little bit less than I did, because it was a race to the bottom of who was worse at playing billiards last night. But don't put any money on me if she's in the room. It's all I'll say. That's why we're tired. I had to talk to you all about how can aquaculture educators in Asia and Europe collaborate in innovative teaching. And many thanks for your patience as I facilitated the groups, as obviously I'm not involved in innovative teaching myself. I think I did a relatively good job of hiding the fact I didn't always understand the acronyms and the methodologies that you were discussing. I should really be on the stage. The first question we looked at, just to get an understanding of where we were, was what collaboration is there? And is there a need for more? And I'm glad to say that everybody, it was clear that there was a strong feeling that yes, there was a need for greater collaboration and that there would be benefit from greater collaboration. The majority of collaboration taking place seems to be at the postgraduate level, principally through ease of funding, it was commented. There is undergraduate exchange work taking place, but it's expensive. And there's often a language issue. One point that did come up, however, was regardless at what level we're talking, there's a need for greater collaboration in exploring educational concepts. And through exploring educational concepts, that can lead to greater curriculum development. So that was one interesting point that came out. We suggested to progress collaboration and innovative teaching. Each country really needs to consider the different levels of education and teaching that are required. And having asked that question, to then ask what technologies could be used, what support is required to use those technologies,
and what were we actually trying to do? What were we trying to achieve? The second point, other points that came up included looking at a more increased interdisciplinary approach for greater innovation, not just in how things were done, but in the breadth of scope that was taken. And an example of that being to collaborate to increase cultural understanding and appreciation between two different global regions. And through greater cultural awareness and greater appreciation of why we do and how we do what we do, there would be greater innovation generated through that level of understanding. To collaborate to plug gaps in our respective knowledge or lack of knowledge of each other's industries. So, for example, in the Northern Hemisphere, there's less expertise and knowledge on ornamentals, on tropicals. Specific emphasis was placed on our need for greater knowledge of all aspects of shrimp. Likewise, in the Southern Hemisphere, it was suggested there was less expertise in areas such as aquaculture engineering, obviously cold water salmonid aquaculture, the things we're used to, and with a greater understanding of what we don't know about each other, there would be greater scope for innovation. I've requested for the next conference I facilitate, I wish the flip chart ironed before I sit down to do it. It's very off-putting to have a crumpled piece of paper. That's part of the public school upbringing, I think. In terms of how we should approach it across the region, there was an acknowledgement that we tend to focus on the higher socioeconomic developed countries, and there was a need to look at less economically advanced aspects of the industry. So perhaps particularly within Cambodia or Laos, where there's a wholly different approach to aquaculture than there is in the more monetized, wealthy aspects of the industry. And also across the region, although it was the comment was made by certain people, in the fullness of time, it will be phased out and become less of an issue. We need to recognize the small-scale nature of aquaculture across Southeast Asia, and in fact acknowledge it still forms the majority of production, and to question and challenge ourselves how to engage in innovation dealing with these small-scale sectors, to better understand the skills and experience that are needed, and also at a more tangential level, to better understand the value chain, the government regulation, issues like certification, the ecosystem-based approach, to take our your teaching methodologies to address these issues as much as any other aspect of the curriculum. One of the agreed ways how there could be greater collaboration, and it came up from all three groups, was looking at increased summer programs, internships, and exposure to different regions on a short-term basis. The final few points for Giuseppe gives you a more professional talk that he's actually typed up, as I was too busy chatting at the tea break. The comment made in traditionally, historically until now, the emphasis in teaching in Europe has been very academic. In Asia, greater emphasis is placed on vocational aspects of studies, and that's borne out with demonstrable activities such as test farms, and a more propensity to engage with the commercial realities of industry. And it was suggested Europe could really learn from greater innovation in terms of market relevant or vocational teaching. In terms of the role of teaching industry, teaching engagement, it was felt there was a clear benefit to have guest lecturers and invited speakers from industry to address specific topics. And hopefully, and a bonus point to this group because it made the EURASTiP program and our exchange program relevant, the development of an EU-Asia exposure course which sounds like something you might be arrested for, but the development of looking at what barriers there are to our mobility and looking at how we could work more closely together. So all in all, a number of areas where there is scope for, if not necessarily innovation in terms of technical innovation, innovation in terms of reappraisal of how one might go about teaching, and innovation through greater understanding of the sectors we're involved in. Thanks, and thank you for all for participating.
Thank you, David. Giuseppe?
Okay, so the only reason why I prepared a PowerPoint is because I can't reach the top of the flip chart. So next time, please, a bit lower. Anyway, I was the facilitator for the number one topic, well, not number one in order of importance, but in order on the list, best practice examples of innovative teaching and material. So before facing this problem or this question, I asked all the attendees, what is innovation? We always talk about innovation, but what is innovation? So I got a few definitions from the people. Out-of-the-box thinking, makes sense. Good teaching versus bad teaching. This one is one of my favorites because it doesn't describe innovation per se, but it actually says the innovation basically is it's more like an easy word to describe something new, but the real important problem here is how good are you are in teaching, how bad you are in teaching. So no matter if you're using innovative methods, if you're good teaching, the students are picking up your information. Change is another definition, something new. Transformation and modification, they're all sort of synonyms. Modify and improve, for the better, of course. Using IT skills, so technology. Passing the message through, this is another important, this is one of my favorites as well. Different from the past. Old versus new methods blended together, so a mix. Change the way you look at things. Now there was a quote that says, if you change the way you look at things, things you look at will change. It actually is good for teaching as well. And then simplify sophisticated things. Okay, so I was asked to focus on things that work during teaching and things that don't work. So let's see first those that don't work actually. Boring lectures. We've all been there, okay? So this was a difficult question to ask the audience because when I asked, as a teacher, what are the things that don't work for you? And I had very, very few answers. When I switched the question, as a student, what did you enjoy least? And then they start saying, the boring lecture, boring professors, some assessment methods, and then bizarre teaching, which are out of focus content, shorter time for applying these innovative methods. This is more from a teacher point of view. Too much material to study, difficult to remember things, and then still rigid teaching, so the old school or professor, like just standing in front and teach, don't care if the students are on WhatsApp, on Candy Crush, or on something else. Communicating problems, maybe language, or maybe it's just the way a person speaks. The big class, so it's very tiring for teachers to answer all the questions sometimes. Not knowing what to study for the exam, okay? So as a teacher, please bear in mind these problems the students have, because you had it in the past. And then motivation, sometimes difficult for the overwhelming assignment burden, which means there are too many subjects all in one semester. Okay, let's see things that work actually, okay? Motivate the students. How do you motivate the students is entirely up to you. Okay, we will see some of the examples here. Feedback and feed forward, so don't forget that. Most of the people here say that the practice in the fish farm is actually one of the best things to do to pick the attention of the students. Also role playing. The students rating other members of the team. So if they work in a group assignment, then they can rate each other, and then they will hate each other forever. Project-based learning, so involvement in practical subject. Storytelling, and again, this depends on the audience, okay? If it's undergraduate students, postgraduate students, you adapt yourself. Engage with technicians, since they can provide a higher view of the work. It's true, guys. Don't forget you have support, okay? And the technical support sometimes is more knowledge than the teacher, because they actually do things. I don't mean that you don't do things, but practical. Field work to visit fish farms. Give them tasks to complete on which is the most innovative marketing system. Okay, so these are just practical examples. Then vocational school, practical experience with prize giving. Now this motivates students, prizes, okay? You can do it with money, you can do it, I personally do it with chocolate, they love it. They get fat at the end of the module, but it's fine, it's part of the fun. Weekly summary presentation by the students based on the teacher's lectures from the previous week. So of course this can be done for small classes, so they can do a weekly summary, and they are stressed all the time. Coaching or mentoring individual students for example, job market with equal participation from the group. This is really, really important. Don't forget that you are teaching them the next step in life, okay? Even if you're teaching a small topic, it's huge for their formation. Group discussion with poster presentation. If you like, you can bring food, coffee. My personal experience when I do this is they bake cakes, okay? They bring it to the class and then we present posters. So it's more relaxed environment, but also some other colleagues do similar things. And then remember to adapt your teaching method to the audience. Don't provide information but formation. Learn how to be critical thinker. For example, you give them a paper to review, okay, and then they can give you back the reviews on that paper. Provide constructive feedback to students, not just for the assessment's sake, okay? Remember, you are teaching them, you're not assessing them, first of all. Another colleague does 30 minutes lecture and then the rest of the time group work with a final presentation. Another one does blended learning, which means providing info before the class, and then during the class there is a group discussion. So the group discussion is coming back all the time, and the practical sessions as well. And then rewarding the students with scholarships or practical projects. Now, in Malaysia, this is one of my favorites. The students can choose, for example, the fish species they're going to cultivate, okay, to culture. Then they grow the fish, and then the profit goes to them through like scholarship or something else. Then we have a colleague here who can explain us better. But of course, this is a 2-semester project, so you have more time. But it's a very good idea. Another one is plan and design a fish farm, which is similar, but the difference is that it is theoretical. So they visit a real farm, and then they go back into the office or the lab, they make a production plan and the drawings, and they have 6 months to submit it. And the Norwegian government pays for that. And the last 3, there are online teaching tools like Kahoot and Today's Meet, which I didn't know before, so it's good to know. And last two of my favorites. Challenge problems to solve through assignments based on their creativity and experience. Basically, is what happened in CSI. Okay? And it's very, very nice. And the last one, food innovation. Basically, it's a cooking class, like in MasterChef, if you know that. There are judges at the end of the module, and they judge the meals. Okay, I want to attend this class. Please invite me. It's in Malaysia. And then also they can plan for marketing the products. This is brilliant, and I really loved it. So I didn't put any input of my personal experience in these slides, but I really, really enjoyed listening to you. So thank you very much, guys.
Okay, thank you to all the facilitators and all the groups. Some really interesting results came out of this. We are now at the last session, which is open discussion and feedback. I think we've covered really a lot today. I mean, we've had so many discussions. I don't know if there's anything left that any of you feel that still needs to be discussed, or maybe you have a question or a comments before I go to the last feedback. No, that would be a great idea. I mean, actually, within the EURASTiP project, that's one of our aims as well, to develop innovative new teaching material. So that would be wonderful if we can collect material. And I think the project website probably has some feature that we can use for doing that. Yeah. Okay, it has been mentioned a few times today already, actually, but it seems most people don't know it. I'd like to do it's a kind of icebreaker exercise again, using Kahoot to get some feedback. Sarah mentioned it earlier today. I think she's using it for the lower grade students, so it's more kind of like a fun, entertaining way to get some feedback of everyone. So the idea is that this is going to be online. So I would like to ask you to get your mobile phone or your laptop and go online and go to kahoot.it. And I hope this is going to work. I've never done it myself before, so. Okay, once you're on the website, your game pin, it's here on the screen as well, it's 423041. And then you can enter a name. It can be your own name, or you can be anonymous. You can make up whatever name you want. I already have 4 players. And I think I know all of them. Yeah, internet has been a bit patchy, and maybe when everyone is going online at the same time, it might be a bit of a problem. Who has problems? Yeah, it's slow. Yeah. I even know the anonymous players. Is anyone not in yet who wants to be in? Yeah. I'll just wait a little bit. So like I said, I've never done this before, but it's actually very easy to do. So at least I hope it works. But the setup was really, really easy. You just have to register on Kahoot. You think of the questions and the answers. You just upload them.
Sorry, I was just saying that I use this for level 0 students, so students who are turned just 18. And if I have practical a lecture at 10 a.m. on a Thursday, that's after the big night out, so they're all completely hangover. I use this and they're fine. They can actually be awake until the end of the class. So I highly recommend it. If you know that you have students at 9 a.m. or something, I recommend to use as a revision tool. Honestly, it works.
Sunny, you want to go online on Kahoot.it and play the game? So the game pin is indicated there, 423041. Okay, I think we'll start. Do I still need to wait for someone? Oh. Yeah. I don't know if you can catch up once we start. Yeah. Okay, one minute. Nog niet? Yeah. Okay, then we'll start. Okay. So I think we have 20 seconds for each question. So first there's the statements. The first one is drama and comedy in the classroom encourage students to listen and participate. And then we have multiple choice and you just click the correct color on your own mobile or your own device. So is this false? There should be no fun in a classroom. Is it true? Laughter is a great indicator of engagement, or you just don't know? It's not coming up? Okay. Yeah, I see there's no. So it should be popping up. The moment you enter your choice, you can see what's happening. Oh. Even me, I have problems. No Wi-Fi as well, yeah. It's back, yeah. You're very much in agreement, I see. No. Yeah, but I'm not sure if it's waiting. Yeah. Okay, I'll just, if I can go to the next one, I go to the next one now. Okay, so question 2. Practical work in science is an excellent means to provide students with learning. So what do you feel? Is that true or is that false, or you don't know? I forgot to say the answer to the first question, by the way, was you were all right. Laughter is a great way of engagement. And this one I actually found, it's a little bit a tricky question, I guess. But the answer was actually it isn't always as effective as it may appear on the surface. But that was because the way it was explained was that a lot of practical work in science is done according to a fixed list. And students would just follow like step 1, step 2, step 3 without critically thinking themselves, and then it wouldn't be as effective as it seems.
Regarding the first question, I don't think it's always good. It really depends how you use it. You need to be very clever if you have different countries. You need to be very clever how to use humor and not use the humor thing for someone, but it's not necessarily the same for others.
True.
So
Yeah.
we need to be careful there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
Okay. We set up the survey in a certain way. Anyway, it was worth it coming all this way for this workshop. How do you feel? Some people came came from quite far. So is this true? You learned a lot. You were inspired. Sorry, I have to say the characters are limited, so I couldn't write Indonesia fully. Oh, thank you. That's a great result. This workshop was well organized. So true, would even dare to say it was excellent, true, I found it very interesting, or it was really boring. Internet seems to be working fine now, that's good. Nobody found it boring, I'm very relieved. Okay, great. I thought this workshop would never end. So, do you find this was true, is true, or is it false? Was it too long, or could it still have kept going on all night? You would have missed dinner for it. Yeah. Okay. A little too long as well, okay. Okay, but that's only one of 4, so there's 3 others, but yeah. No, you can be totally honest, so that's okay. I learned a lot of new things today. So is that true? Is that true, but maybe not to exaggerate, I would rather say I learned a few aspects, or you already knew everything that was covered today? By the way, I think where the Kahoot picture is, you can also upload your own pictures. You can personalize the Kahoot survey, yeah. So you all found it true? Good. Yeah. The spot class was my absolute favorite. Oh yes, definitely. No, I preferred the icebreakers. Sorry, we didn't do all of them. Oh no, I really enjoyed the interactive working groups. No, I'm more a fan of the plenary presentations. We had a 5th options, but you can only do 4 multiple choice, but the other one was you like the coffee breaks and the lunch is best, actually. Okay. Very mixed, yeah. This is interesting for us to know for the next workshop. Okay, the next question. I met an interesting participant today I would really like to collaborate with in the future. So yes, indeed, we already had a short discussion or meeting. Indeed, but I don't have any concrete ideas yet. No, not in particular. No, not really, but I will ask him or her to marry me someday. I'm curious about these responses now. Oh, no romance. Okay, great. And then the last question. I really hope I will be invited to attend the next workshop organized by the EURASTiP project. Yes? If I'm invited, I might consider participating, or please no. Ah, this is great, thank you. Okay, well, thank you very much. Like I said already, like this survey is also very useful for us because we will be organizing 2 more similar workshops. They'll be taking place next year, one on mobility and one on taking the needs of other stakeholders into account. I think one will be at the aquaculture conference in Montpellier next year, and the other one at the next Asian Fan meeting. I can't remember where it will be now. But we will keep you informed, and it will be the same same principle as this one. It's very, very easy. Like I said, I had never done this before. I just developed the questions first in Word. I made an account on Kahoot, so you do have to make an account, but it's very simple. And then you just upload the questions. And like I said, you can personalize it a little bit more than I did. You can add pictures and graphs and things like that as well. Am I right in that? Yeah, yeah. Videos. You're a little bit limited in the limits. The character. There's a limit to the characters of the answers, and the questions as well, I think. But it's really simple. And it seems like you enjoyed it as well. So, and I always hear nice feedback about it. So. And for us, this is useful feedback now. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. We brought everyone together, and I think we had great discussions and great presentations. And yeah, I'm very happy with what I've seen and heard so far. Yeah. Okay, then I'd like to close with just 2 practical things. I think it would be nice to get a group picture, so I'd like to bring everyone together and make a picture. Oh yeah, yeah. That's so I just mentioned them. So one is mobility. Yeah, and the other is taking into account the needs of other stakeholders as well. I think mobility was going to be in Montpellier next year in August at the aquaculture conference. Yeah, yeah. But it will be the same principle, open call and then a selection procedure. Was het omgekeerd? I'm sorry. So. Okay, sorry. So the mobility one will be at the Asian Fan meeting next year then. Where is that going to be, Sunny? Is that no? Tonight. Okay, it's secret still. So that brings me to the next one. That's the gala dinner, because I think all of you will be going, but not all of you have a voucher yet. So I have a voucher for the ones who don't have it, and I believe it starts around 6. I'm not sure. It's. Yeah, and it's in the Dendromium Hall. Sorry? Yeah, Hall 1, I think, is it? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So again, I would like to thank you all very much, and I hope you all have a safe trip home. Okay. Okay. And so we're now going to do the group picture right away.